Hi everybody, I'm Steve Scott, and welcome to the very first episode of Freestyle Judo. Before we get into the contents of today's show, I want to explain what the show's about and why I'm doing it. Really, it's an extension of my coaching. That's what I do. My entire adult life, I've been passionate about teaching. I really enjoy teaching, and I think that's what the good Lord put me on this earth to do. Not that I have all the answers, but I do have some of the answers. And the answers I do have, I'm very willing to help and share with other people. So that's what the show's about, really. I sincerely believe in providing fundamentally sound and yet technically innovative information and skills. I've really looked at my entire coaching career, and maybe through this medium here, we can reach some more people in that effort to teach more about judo, sambo, shingitai jiu-jitsu, other forms of jiu-jitsu as well, submission grappling, and pretty much all the martial arts. Each show will have a specific topic. Today's topic is JUJI GATAME, and what I believe are the four basic applications of JUJI and how to systematically teach them. So we'll be looking at that today, but every show is going to be a little bit different, or in some cases a lot different. I'll be doing interviews with people from time to time. I'll have guests here in my fabulous studio. But as you can see, I spare no expense at my background set here. But we will be at the Welcome At Training Center from time to time doing some shows and some other places. So I'll try to make it different so you don't just see this gray, dull background all the time. So that's about it on that. But anyway, so what I want to do every show is provide something entertaining and yet informative, and maybe reach more people to get them involved in judo, sambo, jiu-jitsu, and the submission grappling and the martial arts in general. So that's pretty much the purpose of the show. Okay, so let's get on with today's show. One more thing, and I'm bad about interrupting myself all the time. You'll get used to it. Pretty much, this is me. What you see here is what you get. I don't script this too much. I just get on here, and as everybody knows me, I have the gift of gab, and you will see it here as well. I did get today in the mail a really nice gift from Hector Morales, who is the coach, has been the coach at the West Point Judo team, West Point Academy in New York. And he sent me this book, and he signed it for me. It's just a beautiful book. I have not got a chance to read it, Hector, but I will. I really look forward to it. It's called Building Warriors, West Point Judo's Road to the National Championship. And there it is. Can you see it real quick there? Okay, got it. Okay, I will read that. And in a future episode of this show, I am going to be doing some book reviews. Again, something different. And I'm a bibliophile. I love to read. I have a massive library of martial arts, but also a general library as well. But I have a very large martial arts library, so I'm always adding to it. And Hector's book will certainly go in the bookshelf as a place of honor. So I really appreciate it, Hector. Thanks so much. But anyway, let's get on with JUJI GATAME. Some years ago, first of all, JUJI GATAME is my favorite technique. I love it. I teach it a lot. I do emphasize it in my coaching. Every coach has an emphasis he or she places on probably their favorite techniques, and I'm no different, I guess. Not all my athletes were JUJI GATAME or are JUJI GATAME people, but many of them are, and that's because of my influence on them, so there you go. But I think for years, we have not approached JUJI GATAME in the teaching of it in a systematic, progressive way. And progressive, I mean taking from point A to point Z, all the way down. So from a very beginner on to very advanced levels of skill. And I think that there was a great lacking. Like in judo, we have classified, in Kodokan Judo, has classified the throwing techniques exceedingly well, and they've categorized all the different types of technical skills, in Katami Waza, Osai Komi, Shime Waza, and Kensetsu Waza. And we see that somewhat also in Sambo and some forms of Jiu-Jitsu as well. But one thing we haven't done, I don't think too many people have done, they haven't systematically approached the classifying and teaching of JUJI GATAME. Things are important. When things are important, we give them names and we kind of give them some structure. And so JUJI Gatame is really important to me, and I think teaching it well, for a lot of people it is as well. And so what I've done, and it's not that I'm a genius, I just came up with it for my own coaching, edification to help me teach. Maybe it'll help you as well. Is I came up with 4 different applications that are basic in movement and basic in nature. And they in addition to teaching the core skills of JUJI Gatame each time, they also teach a lot of things about movement and newaza and ground fighting. So we'll be looking at these 4 different categories or applications, basic applications of JUJI Gatame very quickly here. So let's get into it. Why not? There are 4 basic ones, like I said. The first one is spinning JUJI Gatame. Okay, the first clip's going to be spinning JUJI Gatame, and you'll see that. We'll explain that. Each clip's about 2 minutes in length or so. The next clip will be back roll JUJI Gatame. The third clip will be head roll JUJI Gatame, and the fourth clip will be hip roll JUJI Gatame. Now, I named them to kind of describe what you're doing, what is happening, either from the tori, the person applying it, or uki, the person having it done to them. So they describe the actions. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one. Is spinning JUJI Gatame, and I recommend teaching that first as the initial skill, and you're going to see the basic, very, very basic application, and also from that basic how I progress it up 2 more notches, as it were, to still be doing spinning JUJI Gatame, but in a very functional way. So let's take a clip or a look at that first clip right now. Okay, these are going to be the 4 basic applications of JUJI Gatame. The first one is the spinning JUJI Gatame. So we'll be showing it here with Derek on the bottom and Eric on top. And the idea here is to spin under your opponent and stay round all the time and roll him over and roll him onto his back and apply the crossbody arm lock JUJI Gatame. Okay, one more time off the other side there, Derek. Now that's the first application of JUJI Gatame we teach. We also teach two variations of that right off the bat. Is when the top man pops up on the leg and you hook under, you roll him over and you finish it. And he'll come up on the other knee. Sometimes he'll come up on a knee to either pass your guard in a newaza situation or maybe lean back into an arm lock. Or sometimes beginners just stand up that they want to get out of trouble, and that's the first reaction they do. So this is a very good way to practice the spinning JUJI Gatame as well. Okay. Now we also go to a third level on the basic spin, is when the defender pops up. And as you can see, Derek took Eric over, preventing him from pulling him up off the mat and stopping the action. And if you could do a couple more, guys, and then we'll go on to the next one. And as you can see, these are all spinning under your opponent. That's why we call it spinning JUJI Gatame. Okay. Okay, as you can see, in that clip, I think I explained it pretty well. I don't need to blab on here, but that is our first approach to teaching JUJI Gatame, and I really cannot stress enough how important doing that one is first, because it's we teach movement as well. You notice you have to shrimp and curl under. You have to move your hips and learn mobility on the mat, and just body movement in general. So so that learning spinning JUJI Gatame right off the get-go is a good way to teach also presence on the mat, how to move on the mat as well. I might add, when I'm teaching spinning JUJI Gatame to adults, that's generally one of the first skills they learn, that when they come in to the club, we start them on their break falls, but at the same time, after they get introduction to the break falls, we fuse in doing spinning JUJI Gatame at the same time. So they'll be doing some break falls, some spinning JUJI Gatame, some break falls back and forth, and they're learning literally what I call from the ground up. Okay, so we don't start them on throws right away. We start them on their break falls, so later on they can learn to land safely and have good habits there. Which, by the way, later we will be doing a show on break falls in Ukemi, so stay tuned for that one as well, some point in the future. But right now, so they're learning from the ground up. So while they're learning their break falls, they're also learning spinning Juji Gatame. So we teach that, and we get them good at that. The next step we're going to take is the back roll Juji Gatame, and you'll see in the clip how we do a drill to start with, what we call a spin and stretch, that teaches how to follow into doing this back roll Juji Gatame. This is a very basic way of doing it. You're basically rolling back onto your back and doing the Juji Gatame. But we're teaching also transitions, how to transition from a throw to the ground while they're learning this particular arm lock. So you can see, let's take a look at that second clip and you'll see what I mean. Now the second is the back roll Juji Gatame, and the idea is to roll roll onto your back. This is a very old application of Juji Gatame, and but it's one that really is quite effective still. So let's start, guys, with doing this spin and stretch. We do this often as a drill, and it simulates to throw and immediately go. And I'll shift my position here, and immediately go into from a throw transition right to Juji Gatame. And you can see how and this little spinning off the knee simulates an actual throwing technique. Or he might be on his knees and you might actually spin him over. But this is often how we teach this basic form. You can see as he takes him over, squats down low, rolls back onto his back. We try to give a very functional name, a very descriptive name to each of these four basic methods. And there you can see a good example of him rolling onto his back. Okay, guys, let's go. And that's a basic application. Why don't we do it from a mount situation or, a tate shiho gatame? So why don't you be on your back, Eric? And here's a common application of a back roll Juji Gatame. And you can see it's right there. It's a pretty basic application of it. Do one more on each side if you would, Derek. And you can see now, the idea is he's rolling toward his back, and he's doing it with control. He's not trying to catch himself as he rolls back. He takes control, he traps the arm, rolls back, and he levers the arm nice out and straight. Good. So those are just a couple of examples of how we do the basic back roll Juji Gatame. Okay, so the back roll Juji Gatame, as you can see, we started them out with what we call spin and stretch, and it simulates a throw, and it could be just a really good takedown, as it were, if he's on his knees and spin him over. But you can see how he steps, the attacker steps over and rolls back and does the Juji Gatame. Did you also notice when Derek was doing it on Eric in the clip, in the application, he didn't put both legs over the body. He put one leg over the head, but he kept, this is the older style of putting the one foot back under the ribs because, it's the most functional way of doing it in this particular case. So, and then later you saw how Derek did it, spun over and did it from like a mount situation or tate shiho gatame very efficiently. So you can see how the back roll Juji Gatame has really good applications. So that's the second of the two or the four basic applications, okay? And again, it's just as important as the first, but I teach it after I teach the spinning Juji Gatame. That's just the way I teach. You may want to try it something differently. It's up to you. The third way is the one that's probably the most popular, really. Spinning Juji Gatame is really popular too, but the head roll Juji Gatame, extremely popular, extremely versatile, but also hard to learn for beginners. So you're going to be, again, we're progressing to a little higher level of skill as the athlete or the student moves on in their skill acquisition. Then it's time to teach them the head roll Juji Gatame. And there are a lot of steps to it, but once you get them, it's really worth knowing. It's a great, very effective arm lock, and we see it in every fighting sport, So let's watch that third clip, and this will be on head roll Juji Gatame. The third one
is probably the most often done form of JUJI there is, and it's the head roll JUJI. You see it a lot in any grappling or combat sport, and it is very popular. So, Derek, if you could show us the head roll JUJI. Okay, do that on the same side again, and go ahead and do a leg drag, any type of leg drag you wish. And what we're going to show now is how to grab and assist the leg and grab over and take him over, as you can see. Okay. Do that again if you would, Derek, and we'll kind of parse through it very quickly here. As he comes and he climbs on Eric here, and look at how he posts on his head. See how he's posting on his head for stability and balance? Okay, and as he does that with his left hand, he grabs Eric's arm. He puts his knee across the back of Eric's head. And notice with his other hand, he's going to go ahead and just grab the ankle. Yeah, there, just grab the ankle. You can see how that, and he's going to grab an appendage and help drag him over, right over into the JUJI. Okay, go ahead and do one at full speed, and I'll get out of your way, guys. And there we have the head roll JUJI.
Okay, you can see the head roll JUJI. There are a lot of steps to it. There are a lot of things you have to do, in other words, to make it work and to really make it efficient. But through constant practice, through constant drilling, through good repetitive skills of good application of skill, it'll happen. It really does. It takes some while to learn that, but it sure is worth knowing. I think in every weight class, in every fighting sport, male and female, it is probably the most popular application of JUJI you see anywhere, whether it's Olympic judo or mixed martial arts. Okay, it's just great. So that's, to me, one of the best forms of JUJI there is. But not to take anything away from the fourth, because the fourth form of JUJI, fourth basic application, is the hip roll. And you noticed in the head roll, we were rolling the defender, Uki, over his head. And in this particular case, in the fourth application, the hip roll JUJI, is we're rolling the defender in the direction of his hip. So that's why I named him what I did. But you can see it's still a rolling JUJI, but it's rolling in a different direction. So let's take a look at this fourth application of JUJI, which is the hip roll JUJI.
Do the hip roll JUJI. And again, this is, you notice that before Eric was rolling in the direction of his head. Well, now he's going to roll in the direction of his hip. And there you go, comes over and he rolls backward toward his hip. Okay? I'll get here so I can get a little closer. You can see the action. Watch everyone, if you would. When Derek comes across, he hooks. Now he posts on his head just like before, but now watch with his left leg, he hooks under Eric's head, and now he's going to roll over his shoulder in the direction of Eric's hip. That's what we call it, the hip roll JUJI. You're rolling in the direction of his hip. Okay, I'll get out of your way again, guys, and let you do it, and we'll show this last of the four basic methods. And there we have it. Those are the four basic applications, the core skills of JUJI. And from these core skills, you can have any number of variations. And the thing about JUJI, it is such a versatile technique. And you can see here, we had to have some kind of a systematic way of teaching it. And this is the best way we found that these four skills, they go into any number of variations and different applications. So that's it. Four core skills of JUJI.
Okay, in this fourth application of JUJI, the hip roll, you saw basically Derek rolled in the direction of Eric's hip. And this is a very effective form of JUJI as well. You see this as well. A lot of times, an athlete may try to do a head roll JUJI. It doesn't work. He slips his leg under the neck, rolls into the opposite direction, kind of a combination, Ramaku Waza, or combination technique on the mat. Very effective way of doing it. And it's a rolling form of JUJI, but it's, again, rolling in a different direction than the head roll. So the reason I classified these again, for my own edification, my own way of systematically teaching them, the reason I did it was for that, to provide a good progressive from A to whatever level we get to, Z or whatever it may be down the alphabet, and learning to progressively add more skill, okay? I think, in my own opinion, in my own club, for my guys that I promote, a good black belt in judo and a good black belt in jiu-jitsu, and certainly a national level sambo wrestler should know these 4 basic applications and know them really well, and then take these 4 and, the sky's the limit. There are all kinds of variations of these, all kinds of them. And you could take these 4 basic, but all these variations stem off these 4 basic applications. They really do. So that's all I've done on this. It ain't rocket science, but it is, to me, helps me in my coaching to systematically teach and teach more effectively. So that's why I did the 4 different styles, 4 different applications of JUJI GATAME, of the basic applications. I want to, every show, if I can, have some question and answers. I get some questions from time to time on email and other formats, and we will talk about them. Oh, by the way, very quickly, and again, interrupting myself, and you'll get used to this if you watch the show much, JUJI GATAME means cross lock or cross holding in place. JUJI GATAME. The full name for it is Ude Hishigi JUJI GATAME. Apologize for my poor Japanese, but that's the way it is. Ude Hishigi. Ude means arm. Hishigi means to break or to crush. JUJI is to cross, and GATAME is to lock or hold in place. So it's arm crushing or arm breaking cross lock. And it kind of tells you it's a pretty aggressive move. So I just want to add that in before we do a few questions and answers, or a couple anyway we can get here. Okay, to round out the show for today, I'd like to hit 2 questions. 2 of them are very good ones. First one is, and I got several people ask this, so should you wear something under your jacket in practice? Do you wear something under your jacket in practice? And do you recommend other people doing it? Yes, I do. Actually, I know that rash guards or T-shirts or sweatshirts of some type are great to wear under the jacket in practice, no matter whether you're doing judo, jiu-jitsu, sambo, whatever it may be. Just as long as, like, if you're cutting weight, just as long as you got a really thick shirt with like a hoodie on, I wouldn't wear that. I'd wear something that can go under the jacket so your partner can grab it in training. But yeah, for training, absolutely. Now, in the rules of judo, whether it be the IJF or our freestyle judo rules, or pretty much any judo rules that I know of, all of them that I know of, and also a sambo, you go bare-chested. Men go bare-chested under the jacket. So, and obviously women wear something under their jacket, but men go bare-chested. That's always been the way it's been in judo. And I personally like that. I think it's one less thing to grab for, in choking somebody or whatever. So, but in practice, it's okay. I think it absorbs sweat. It's really good for practice. So that's just kind of my take on, yes, wear a rash guard, wear something under your practice gi, and it really does help in your training. Okay. Second one, again, concerning the judo gi or jiu-jitsu gi, is the colors. Or do you advocate? Do you like wearing different colors of judo gis? And what do you think of the traditional all-white gi? Well, personally, I've never owned a blue judo gi. I've always worn white judo gis. I started judo in 1965 when everybody had a white judo gi, okay? And, there are philosophical, traditional reasons for wearing an all-white gi. That is great. It just happens to be my personal preference. But if you want to wear a blue gi, go for it, It's now allowed in the IJF. They have blue or white gis. By the way, that's an interesting bit of history there. I can't remember what year it was. It was sometime in the 70s, mid-70s. But there was a push from, I think, the European Judo Union to change the judo gi colors to blue and red. Now, that's what we use in sambo. We use a blue kurtka or uniform, or a red one. So to show the difference of the two athletes on the mat for scoring, simply for scoring. Now, I have a bluer red jacket in sambo, but I've always worn a white judo gi. But anyway, back to the point, the IJF was considering strongly at the time having a blue gi and a white gi, or a red gi, judo gi. And it was finally decided and through that they would just have a blue gi for one and a white for the other. And that's how that settled down. That's why we have the blue and white. I think that came around in the, I think somewhere around after the 80 Olympics. I'm not quite certain when that happened, maybe the 84 Olympics, but it happened sometime. It came down to the blue and white judo gis. And you historians of judo can correct me, I'm sure, but I think that's what it was. Sometime in the 80s, it finally came down that way. The IGF approved. But in freestyle judo, we allow any color of judo gi. We really don't care. We have some of our strongest clubs in AAU judo, and their instructors wear black gis. That's fine. It's just not my style. It's just not my thing. Generally, the only two colors I don't allow in my dojo are black or red, and it's just personal preference. Okay, it's just me. But if you want to wear them, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I think people who get really upset about the different colors of judo gis, that's for them, okay? For me, I'm not one of them that gets too upset about the different colors of judo gis. Just as long as it's clean, it doesn't stink, and it's in good repair. That's all, and the belt hold it together. And the judo gi is a practice garment, and when you compete in it, it's a competition garment. So it should look good, obviously, but the color doesn't bother me one way or the other, okay? And I think probably that's the way there's most people anyway. So that's pretty much it for today's show. Again, each show will be something different, and today's topic was JUJI GATAME. What it's going to be next shows, upcoming shows, I'm going to do some book reviews, like I said, and we're going to look at some different technical stuff. Each show I'm going to try to have some kind of a technical skill to cover, just to make it interesting and informative. So that's pretty much what we do. So again, hey, thanks everybody for watching. I really hope you enjoy it. Please tell others about this. I don't get rich or famous for doing this, but I really enjoy teaching judo and sambo, jiu-jitsu, and I really hope you've enjoyed the show as well. So until next time, thanks for watching.